Hello everyone, welcome to the next class. So in this class, we are going to update the packages on Oracle Linux. This is a very good practice, especially an important update, especially after installing a new Linux distribution or from time to time. But when I say from time to time, I mean that it's crucial to regularly check for and apply updates to ensure system stability and security. You need to have a process in your company to keep track of what is being released on Oracle's website in this case. Oracle Linux or any patch packages. Many times, packages are released that mitigate security risks in the operating center itself. So it's important to have a process in your company to keep track of these package releases, which could be a simple fix, an improvement to some functionality to make things more efficient, or worse, because a security issue was discovered in some package or file in Linux. In that case, you need to run that package. Or it could be a package, for example, that will prevent a disk issue, something that could cause a problem or even compromise your environment. So you need to keep an eye on this. This applies to all Linux distributions. So there are two commands you need to run. The first command is this command. It updates the list of repositories on your installed Linux system. When you install your Oracle Linux, at that moment, there is a repository located on the disk itself, which contains information about which packages are installed, the version of these packages, right? And these packages match what is currently installed. But it could be that at the time you are working, Oracle Linux or Oracle, in these cases, already updated some package, changed the version due to a necessary fix, or even created new packages. So it's interesting actually, it's not just interesting, it's essential. Before you proceed with the installation, you should update this repository, and that will update your packages. This update will be performed by accessing your server and fetching the information from Oracle's website. And then, by performing this package update, the updates will be downloaded. If these packages are outdated, the updates will be downloaded for those packages, and the repository will be updated with the newly downloaded packages. After that, you'll move on to the command that will actually perform the installation of the packages that were downloaded, right? Which is the upgrade command. The point about sudo here is simply that if you're running these commands and you're not logged in as root, you'll need to run them as root. In the case of Oracle Linux, okay, and on the internet as well, they also use this same program here, yum, to perform these update and package installation operations. If you use, for example, Debian or Ubuntu, which is a Debian-based distribution, here instead of yum, if I'm not mistaken, it will be apt, okay? But the idea is the same, and the rest of the command will be the same. All right, so here let's run this command. It will take a little while because it will fetch the information from the internet and update the packages. And many organizations, it's possible that this command is blocked, and then many companies use FTP type programs like WinFTP, for example, to download these updates within a more controlled environment so as not to leave the server. With internet access, this server, in the case of a Linux production server, having access to the internet, at this moment, this I1 command is going to the Oracle website, checking if there are packages to be updated. But this can pose a security risk, leaving the internet open, right? Of course, there will be security measures, firewalls, and a number of things to filter which types of sites will be open for this kind of operation. But here, since it's a lab environment, we just run this command directly. In many organizations, this command will also be allowed, right? There will just be some restrictions. For example, access to secure sites will be allowed, while other sites will be blocked using security tools. So it might take a little while here, and when it's done, the word complete will appear, right? Meaning it's finished. Then we move on to the next command, which is the upgrade command, which will actually install the packages that were downloaded. If they're outdated, which might be the case if they're not up to date, then nothing will be installed. I'm just going to pause here so you don't have to watch this for too long. Hi everyone. So coming back here, the process is finished. It took about 15 or 20 minutes. At the end, you'll see the message here, complete. If you've made it this far and this message appears, everything went fine. The packages were updated in the Oracle Linux system repository. And now we need to install. If your packages were outdated in the repository, when you run this upgrade command, they'll be installed. If not, nothing will be installed because your Linux was already up to date. Well, so here I'm going to copy and run this command. So there's nothing to do here, okay? Everything was already up to date because I downloaded Oracle Linux and went straight to the installation. But it's a good idea for someone in your company or yourself to periodically check what's being released on Oracle's website, whether it's improvements, bug fixes, or especially security-related updates. So after everything is done, everything authorized, then it's recommended that you reboot your Linux. You can reboot your Linux in a few different ways. So if you run sudo reboot here, okay, Linux will restart and will boot up again. How am I doing this? I'm running the command here directly in putty. Putty will disconnect automatically, right? Because it will be shut down. I could also do this in the Linux terminal. I can run it here. I'm in the terminal. I can switch to root here, enter the terminal, and run this command from here as well. Either way, putty will disconnect, right? Because that connection through putty will be rebooted. So I can run sudo reboot here, or I can just run reboot directly. Since I'm already operating as super user, here I ran sudo actually, I ran reboot, and it's already restarted. With Linux, it's good practice. It's now loading Linux again. Just remember, if your mouse pointer disappears, press the control key on your keyboard, the right control key, and it's rebooting here again. As soon as the reboot is done, you can reconnect with putty. All right. Other options, for example, if you run this command here, sudo power off, your Oracle will simply be shut down. Here, it's already been restarted, everything's fine. So if I type here root Linux 123, it's been restarted. Hold down the control key here So the mouse will appear right here. The PuTTY window closed. Okay, here it is. See, inactive because we have a boot. So I'll close this and open PuTTY again. Let's connect. I'll click open, done. It's already properly connected through PuTTY, so I can keep running things in PuTTY. Or if I want, I can also use the terminal, but it even has those restrictions related to not using the clipboard. The window is small. I prefer to keep working with PuTTY because in real life, you'll end up working with PuTTY or some other similar software to connect to your Linux machine. All right, so with PuTTY running inside a jump box, inside a virtual machine, with all the security to access your terminal, you don't have to use the terminal directly itself. That is, to access the server without you having to be inside the Linux server to access the Linux server. So you use PuTTY, which is interesting. So as we've also clearly seen, we can perform a system shutdown by running the dedicated shutdown command, and then a snapshot is automatically taken at that precise moment. Or something interesting as well, I can schedule a shutdown. For example, here I can schedule the signal to run at 8:30. So if I run this command here, oops, let me see, because it didn't work. There's a little error here, but this is the command. Let me try it here in the terminal. Let me go ahead and run this particular command right here in the terminal. Good. Okay, that looks correct. Sudo shutdown -h 20 hours and 30 minutes. Done. It worked here. It could be a problem during transfer. I don't think so. That's odd. I typed it here. It worked. Let me do it by typing here to put sudo shutdown -h -h 20 20 and also 30. He was, yes, computer phenomena. Let me copy this text here and I'll paste it here. Let me copy it from here again now. Press Ctrl C, throw it over here. He was, I didn't understand. Good, but it is already scheduled to be kicked down at 8:30 p.m. And if I want to cancel it, just run this command with the option -C and the shutdown is canceled. All right, guys,